And we are
Hello.
live. Hey, hello. How are you?
I'm great, Greg. How are you? Welcome, everybody, to AI for Thought with Salvia and Greg.
I am
And
well.
today we have a smorgasbord of topics to talk to you about. We're going to cover a little bit about the education system and the Education and AI Summit that happened in in America on
Mm.
the 22nd to the 24th of August. And and then we're going to talk a little bit about Khan Academy and how far it's come with its initiative since it was one of the first movers as far as AI is concerned. And then, Greg, what do you have to talk about?
Oh, wow. This just came out hot off the press here 15 minutes ago. I picked it up. So it's based on a video game. All
Mm-hmm.
right. So I watched the fringes of these things, and this video game has the capability for the player to tell characters in the game how to respond.
Oh, wow.
I'll leave it at that, and we can get it because I want to get into the education, and I'll follow up with that part because it's pretty significant, and it'll go under most people's radars, except for gamers, and most gamers will just pick it up as a cool little thing, but it's kind of a bigger thing than a cool little thing. But anyway, tell me about this. What were your reflections on the education? Um, was it a summit of some sort in the U.S. here?
Yeah, it happened. It just happened last week, and it was organized by MIT. Um,
Oh, okay,
their
all right.
their their Raise initiative, which I believe is an AI initiative, and it was to prepare participants to not only use AI but also engage in developing it and also focus on its ethics as well.
Mm, okay,
So
all
it
right.
was definitely overdue as far as I'm concerned. I think that education should have been ahead of this. I mean, when we talk about Khan Academy, you're going to see that like educational platforms like that jumped on board with AI very early, and so this education summit had people from 30 different countries attending. So
Wow.
it was a global event, and basically they made it into a kind of cool little thing where they did a hackathon, and they focused on this something called the Cool Think project, which is teaching fourth to sixth graders computational skills along with AI. And this all happens in
Wow.
and so basically this computational AI program is something that they want to. It happened in Hong Kong, but they want to um, use it for other countries as well. And then the third thing that they talked about in the summit was the ethical considerations, and the ethical are definitely always going to be there.
Yeah, interesting. Anything substantial come out of it, or was it mostly internally? Get better at educating and things like that. What was the next action item?
Well, basically, what they did was they created in their hackathon. They used AI to create some pretty useful tools. They created like a sign language to audio translation app, and so that sign language could become much more automated. And they had like they did AI tools for the visually impaired. And
Okay.
so the hackathon was really interesting to me because, you know, as an education summit, they usually are very straightforward and boring, but they made this hip and trendy.
That's pretty cool. Okay, so and I don't know the format, but the outcomes were some cool things and what I like about it, whether it was intended to be that way or if it just organically came out that the AI was being applied to help folks at a human level, right? It wasn't some sort of ethereal or up in the clouds kind of business process or anything like that. It reminds me of there was a movie, gosh, oh my gosh, how long ago? Uh 20, 30 years ago, all right? It's called Congo, where there was a gorilla that was taught
Hmm.
sign language. And that actually, we know that what was it, Lucy,
Yeah.
or there was a gorilla. And the professor, the student or whatever in the movie had created a software package that the gorilla wore a glove. think I
Hmm.
could be wrong, but whenever it was doing sign language, right? Because they can
Hmm.
do sign language, it translated that into speech. So that it was amazing at the time to see something like that happen, and it made a lot of sense, right? If you slapped a glove on a human and then they did the sign language, it should be able to translate that into audio of some sort. This goes
Wow.
well, that was back then, very robotic, and it really didn't exist in real life per se. But and it didn't really make it any. It added one more step to the process back then, right?
Hmm.
So, but if you had someone who understood sign language, could communicate without that, um, it was one way too, right?
Yeah.
So this, I assume, I could be wrong though, but I could speak to someone and the sign language would automatically come out on the screen or whatever, right?
Yeah,
And
100%.
then
Exactly.
right,
Both
and then
ways. Both
right,
ways. The sign language would be automatically become language, and the language would become automatically sign language.
right, and that's a perfect model for a LLM, which is very similar
Yeah.
to translating live translate, the universal translator thing. And I just read something about that. Right, there were these help centers are AI and the LLMs are translating nearly real time. I mean, I've
Hmm.
seen it, and it is just at my level nearly real time. So one could have a conversation with someone who doesn't speak your language a lot easier than it was just 16 months ago. So it's
Yeah,
interesting to see
100%.
that.
And I think that that's like, yeah, and going back to our last session where we were talking about the sorry, I just got interrupted. Um, I where we were talking about the jobs that are going to be lost, and translators was
Mm.
one of them, right? So yeah, so
Yeah, yeah, interesting. Funny thing is, I learned the difference between a translator and an interpreter. Right, and it comes out of
yeah,
the military, right? An interpreter is there, can translate, but is also to interpret the meaning behind the words, right? A translator simply just translates word to word.
yeah,
Where an interpreter translate can even, shed light on cultural differences or cultural
yeah,
nuances
yeah,
that
yeah,
the
yeah,
language.
100%.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm seeing AI be an interpreter, not just a translator, which
yeah.
that the depth there is huge. Wow. Okay, and that came out of the education summit. What else?
What else? Yeah, so the education summit was definitely something that is a big step forward. And
Mm.
with them being having 30 countries there, obviously they have enough. They were talking about it right now. I think they were talking about like out of 196 countries, only 28 have created any frameworks around AI. And
Mm.
so, having those 30 countries there and being part of something here means that we're spreading that awareness and making sure that people are widely exposed to what AI can do in the field of
Hmm.
education.
Yeah, yeah. It's always interesting. I think, especially now the school season is starting. Obviously, right? Everyone's getting back to school. AI is a big issue still. Um, I kind of getting the feeling, at least over here, that it is more. I don't know what the word is. Acceptable, I guess, is
Hmm.
the best word. Um, and people on on the other side of the desk at the chalkboard know about it now and can almost
Yeah,
recognize it when a student. I think what I guess I'm saying is the adoption and embracing of LLMs in the education industry
yeah,
has opened up relative to just 12 months ago, right?
100%.
So yeah, similar to how it took years for the industry to accept calculators, it only takes months or at least 1 or 2 semesters to accept
Yeah,
some sort of new technology nowadays,
yeah,
which it's a fast-paced world. And
yeah. But you
that's
have
been one.
this.
Go ahead.
No, but you have this Khan Academy, right? And for
Yeah.
those of you who are not familiar with Khan Academy, it's a learning platform. It's been around for quite a while, and they were the pioneers with making sure that they were AI integrating. And they have, their platform is definitely fully AI integrated. They focus on personalized learning now, and it also presents it allows students to have their own learning paths, and it also allows them to analyze their performance and tailor education content accordingly.
Okay.
And then they've got Conmigo, which is an AI tutor, and this AI tutor is it uses natural language processing to help students engage in conversation, helping them understand concepts across like. And so they have this AI tutor who not only helps them learn, but it also serves as as a study partner for them. So not only
Oh,
does it behave as a
okay.
tutor, but it also behaves as a study partner. And and then um, and then they also have used AI for transforming content creation, and they use AI to not only practice problems, but also then create new problems to be able to help the students in learning. So you've got this very powerful platform that has has shown demonstratively how to use AI within this platform. And
So this is it here, right?
yeah, there you go. There's Conmigo.
Hmm. So could you, while I'm scrolling through this and learning, just back up and just give a brief introduction of what Khan Academy really is and who there's a person Khan, right? That's the last
Yeah.
name of somebody.
So his
Okay.
name is Salman Khan, and he was from MIT, and he decided that he wanted to open a platform that had tutoring for kids for free. And so he created this tutoring platform where kids could go and learn, and he did it, and it just exponentially grew. And then when AI came out, he was the one that was the first one on the AI bus.
Wow. Uh-oh. Ooh, I think I almost lost you for a second. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Sorry about that. Hmm.
That's it.
Okay. So Khan was he developed this before AI. Interesting.
Yeah, this was a platform that was developed before AI. It was for providing real-time tutoring assistance for all students for free of cost.
Have you dived into it and gotten into the details by any chance? I have to admit I didn't know that much about it before, but I'm looking at it now, and if it's free, for crying out
Yeah.
loud.
Yeah, 100%. It is free. And I have taken a quick I took a pre-cursory look at it. And yeah, 100%. It's definitely something that is valuable, and a lot of people can benefit from it.
Wow, it sure is, and it's so that Conamigo, clever, is also free. Wow, this
Yeah.
is pretty cool. All right. Hmm. So the the tutor is AI based, obviously. All right.
Yeah, the tutor is AI based.
Huh. Do you happen to know what the adoption level is? What the usage is by any chance? Is it being
No, I
all
don't.
right?
No, I don't. I really don't.
Okay. Well, that's very interesting. Wow. Cool. All right. Huh.
So
Well,
that's AI in education. AI in education is definitely something that's a growing field, and you know that there's so much scope for it, and there's just so much use for it. And if you've got 30 countries that are just exploring it, the scope for growth is so great. I think anyone who is interested in pursuing an area in AI that would be highly fruitful and highly beneficial, education is something that I would highly recommend.
I I'm going to use it more. I'm going to talk about it more often. This is great. I had no idea. I know. So I plead ignorance to this particular subject. So thank you for sharing that with me. Um, but it's pretty cool, and it has been around for a while. And I really like the tutorial side, the tutor, the AI tutor,
Yeah,
because that is a perfect application for AI with LLMs. I mean, it's just
yeah.
it's perfect, and even at a kid's level, not even, but at that level, right?
Hmm.
Because boy, you hit them in first and second grade with that. I remember. All right, little story here. When I was in elementary, they had special programs. I mean, special meaning that if you wanted to learn different things about reading, all you went down to the lab and plugged in a tape cassette,
Hmm.
and listened to someone with a tape, speak to you, and that was you could stop the cassette and move forward and learn and stuff like that. But that was it.
Yeah.
All right, that was it.
Yeah.
Uh, this is totally light years ahead. Wow, that's very interesting. Okay, cool, nice.
So there's
Um,
my little spiel about education. Now it's your turn. Tell me what you've got
well,
on your agenda today.
kind of dovetails into it. So, and
Okay.
so we all know Nvidia, right? And they're huge, big, huge, humongous company, and
Yeah.
their big thing is, and I'm I'm paraphrasing and broad stroking it, but the world needs to move from CPU to GPU, right?
Yeah.
That's their hardware mantra.
Yeah.
CPU, central processing unit. Okay, GPU, graphics processing unit. All
Yeah.
right.
Hmm.
So Intel, AMD, all those guys
Yeah.
are they're CPU manufacturers.
Yeah.
There's a big difference. Nvidia got started in the gaming side of the world, and
Yeah.
literally a shoebox. They developed a VGA graphics controller card that
Yeah.
you could plug into your IBM PS2, your well, maybe not PS2, but compact into a computer that would take over the processing of graphics away
Yeah.
from the onboard chip or the CPU. So it was considered a graphics processing unit, right? And it just made the games better, faster because images and stuff like that. Well,
Yeah.
and I know we've talked about this before, but when you look at AI and the calculation demands of artificial intelligence, a GPU is a perfect processing unit above and beyond an old school, and I call it old school DOS based Intel microchip, right? And I don't care what anyone says, it's just dumb luck, right? Nvidia didn't start a business to become an AI giant. They started a
Yeah.
business just so that they could play games faster.
Yeah.
All right. So establish that route. Now, I've always looked at, like I said earlier, the fringes and see what's going on in how other people are taking technology and pushing it. And it's in the gaming world, which I guess is not stigma anymore, but in the gaming world, that's really where these things start to excel. So,
Yeah.
and I just saw the other day, um, and let me share this. I just saw the other day a this is last week. Gosh, just things turn so fast. Um, this over here. So there's a game, a first person shooter called Doom. It's like one of the very, 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 very first ones,
Yeah. I
right?
remember
And
that.
yeah,
Hmm.
and it was just at the time it dropped and it simulated 3D, so you could actually be immersed in a world, and objects would move past you like you were walking through it. Back then, that was a
Yeah.
huge advancement.
Yeah.
So fast forward what 20 years or so, and now you've got here somebody took AI and decided to run quote unquote Doom under AI. Now at first it's like, okay, what the heck does that mean? Well, in old first person shooters, everything is predetermined, pre-designed. There's a maze that's been written and
Yeah.
you move through the maze. That's the best way to put it, right?
Yeah.
Certain things can jump out and off that, but everything was pre-configured and pre-generated. With this particular motion, and it is brand new, everything down to the pixel level is generated real time. Now, this
Okay.
takes a little bit to grasp, but that means that things change and move as you move through it. There
That's
is no
groundbreaking. That's
it's
groundbreaking.
there's no predetermined path, although for the gameplay there is, but it's not been designed into it, right? And
Yeah.
bigger, better games have better graphics, multiple levels of quote unquote, I'll call them mazes for now,
Yeah.
challenges and things like that. But everything had a action reaction, pretty much predetermined.
Yeah.
This system, in theory, and it does in application, will change as you go and down to the pixel level, which means you can create worlds and they'll change, as you look one way, it'll generate that image as opposed to access that image that's already been stored
Yeah.
in memory. It's mind blowing. That's so
That is
that's
really mind blowing.
so
That's
I
going to be,
watched that.
yeah.
And you can see, and maybe you can't, but people can see where this means something in terms of AI in general. In
Hmm.
general, so it can create a world as you go that would help CEOs and C levels make decisions in the business world,
Yeah.
not from a predetermined playbook,
Yeah.
but
What a
a
great strategy tool. What a great
yeah,
strategy tool.
it's actually huge. It's
Yeah.
really a big deal. All right. And again, it's a lot of processing at the graphics level. So
Yeah.
NVIDIA falls right into that, right?
Yeah.
Because, and just to talk a little bit more about NVIDIA real quickly, they've been there. That's why they are so far ahead of the rest of the industry. And
Yeah.
you don't hear many people talk about it. But the
Yeah.
AMDs and the Intels of the world are all CPUs. They're not GPU driven. So their fabs, their manufacturing plants
Yeah.
are designed for CPU processing,
Yeah.
not graphics. So, and to retool, you don't retool those. You build new manufacturing plants. And
Yeah.
that's where NVIDIA is, they may only be 5 years ahead physically, but that puts them decades ahead technologically. All
It
right.
really does. I had no idea about this, Greg. So
And
thank
they're
you for that
huge.
information.
There's another one that I just saw today, right? And it
Hmm.
is, I want to put this one on here somehow. Um, this one kind of blew my mind because, well, it's another gaming thing, right? But okay. If you look at the headline, there's a first person shooter called Arena Break. Never heard of it. Doesn't matter. It's on the peripheral. It's not one of the main
Hmm.
games, right? But what it does, and again, I'm not that deep in it, but there are these first person shooters, and I know you've seen these games where folks all over the world can log in, all right, and team up and be on one team. And what you'll see
Yeah.
is they're wearing headgear and microphones, and they're literally talking to each other, working through this game, right?
Yeah.
It's extremely popular. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there are there are characters inside the game, right? That don't they respond basically according to some sort of pre-written algorithm, right? It
Hmm.
is a program out there that will respond, just like I said earlier. If your team moves this way, it'll move this, it'll respond according to a preset algorithm. All right. What
Yeah.
these guys have done, all right, is created their own AI, and where you can command or verbally your non-playing characters, right?
Yeah.
If there's a character in, so you can have a team of virtual players on your team, and it'll recognize your voice and then act accordingly based on what you tell it. Now, this is mind-boggling because,
Yeah.
like I said, it is not a predetermined path. Although overall there is a goal, but it isn't a predetermined path. So if you're with a team of guys, and just like you would with your friends or whatever, and it could be anything, right? It could be, you know, poker, blackjack, any type of gaming, any type of collaboration. That's where I'm going to make the step over.
Yeah.
All right. So now you've got AI that will respond to your voice. Now, this particular version has it'll respond to
That
seven.
I didn't even think about that. Wow, Greg, that's really, really that's very insightful.
This is yeah. This particular company may not make it. Doesn't matter. They cracked the
Mhm.
seal on this particular issue. And if you take what I just talked about earlier and this, mold them together, attach it to, or make the agent that you create here or multiple
Yeah.
agents attached to corporate data of some sort or whatever, you have got the one person, $1 billion corporation.
Yeah.
This is, I mean, putting them together is huge.
Yeah.
And like I
Yeah,
said,
I
that just
can't wait to see those. I can't wait to see those one person, $1 billion unicorns. I think it's gonna be very exciting to see that.
it's incredible. So anyway, those are my two that literally came up. I mean, there's obviously so much more. Talk about the Intel thing that we just talked about. They are going through some massive layoffs and changes, which is just, you know, and you see because of this, they're CPUs, not GPUs, and everyone
Yeah.
needs a GPU. No one needs or wants a CPU.
Yeah.
So, so Intel and Intel just received a ton of money from the government to build fobs here in the States that are
Hmm.
CPUs, not GPUs. I could be oversimplifying it, but that's the juxt of it. So
So that really just changed my perspective, because I always thought that AMD would be the competition for Nvidia, but according to you, they make CPUs, not GPUs. So then they would even be in the same league.
That's right. I mean, this is, again, this is from me. I could be totally wrong. I don't think I am, but this is what we picked. Oh, when you went to uh, the Nvidia conference in California,
Yeah,
that's, that was my. I knew Nvidia from a gaming standpoint. Whatever. It's like,
yeah,
okay, I know a mouse manufacturer because I use it for gaming. That's how
yeah,
little it really mattered. Now
yeah,
it's like, ooh, and then that's what I saw when I watched it online. I go, well, this is a totally different architecture than before. It really is. And at that point, I was
yeah.
thinking, well, it'll just work with. No, it's going to have to replace. So anyway,
Yeah. And even from a global perspective too, like as I mentioned last time, we were talking about China and how they don't have the GPUs that they need in order to develop their AI the way that it needs to be developed. And you know, Nvidia is very restrictive with what they're offering them. So that's very interesting. Is there do you know if there's a GPU company in China?
oh yes, they have a GPU now.
Okay.
I'm going to be. I'm not going to be sensitive. They cannot create and innovate on their own. It's not in that DNA. But
Yeah.
it doesn't mean they can't steal it and copy it, which
Yeah.
they're very good at doing. Which
Yeah.
and that's about as negative as I'm going to be on that. China, we could talk for hours on this. China has a whole nother view of the world than the
Yeah.
Western world, right?
Yeah.
And wrong or right, good or bad, and that dovetails nicely into Taiwan because that's
Mhm.
where all the fobs are. All of the chip fobs, the manufacturing plants are in Taiwan because,
Got it.
and that's just a hop, skip, not even a hop, skip, and a jump. So,
Yeah.
China could probably steal some technology right off the island, or take it over. I don't think that's right. B, the U.S. is pumping tons of dollars into making fobs here in the states under our control. That's what COVID taught everyone about the supply chain. We were
Yeah.
stretched all over. The global supply chain is very fragile and
Yeah.
apt to political influences and stuff like that. So in the U.S., you're going to start. You're already seeing we're pulling back and doing things, you know, within our boundaries more than what we were before, and it depends on the political environment as to how far we go. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, that's within the last 3 or 4 days.
That's within the last 3 or 4 days. Yeah, I know. I've been trying to keep in tabs about this Telegram story as well, and there's nothing else coming in the news about the Telegram story over here. Is there anything
No,
coming
there
over there?
isn't. Nope, it went dark, which is typical. It's now,
Yeah.
unfortunately, the news cycle is 30 seconds long, so it pops in and out, especially with AI. Um, no, he was released. The charges were made public. I mean, they're hitting him up for everything, not like
Yeah.
just a platform. I mean, he's the whole shebang. Um, in
He's a,
Brazil, they
he's a, he's
banned.
another character. He's another character.
Yeah,
I was researching him, and then I found out that he has like 100 by children from sperm donation. You can't make this stuff
I
up,
was
right?
just thinking that you cannot make that up. That's like a
Yeah,
James Bond movie on.
yeah,
It's like, wait a minute, what? Yeah, of course he does. Oh, okay,
yeah.
yeah, he does. Yeah, it's it's hilarious. I had another one of those today on what the morning tap. I forget what it is. It just happens. Like you can't make this up. Oh, an AI in Germany, an LLM accused off a writer of taking advantage of widows,
Yeah,
being a murderer or something. The LLM Copilot.
yeah.
If you wrote an article, somehow it got out into the public that this writer in Germany is a child molester and kills widow, does all these bad things, and the guy's going, "Hey, wait a minute, that's not me," and it's been months to try and correct it.
Yeah.
And Copilot, all that Copilot did is just erase his name completely out of the Copilot database. So now I mean, it's laughable, but it's sad too. It's like, wow, that tells you something. Wow.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Well,
we've hit the time limit, which is fine.
yes. And it
Right?
was great. We learned
I
about
love it.
education, we learned about CPUs and GPUs and all of this amazing information. And the call to action for everyone is to, you know, go ahead and take a look out there. See what's out there as far as the education factor is concerned. See if there's anything there that's relevant for you. Another thing that's happening is that education is becoming, they're using gamification in education, which I've always been a huge fan of. And
Absolutely.
AI helps to be able to do that as well. So lots of really interesting things happening in the field, and really wonderful spending this time with you talking about it, Greg.
Yep. Perfect. We'll be doing it again this Friday, same time,
Yes.
same channel.
Yes. We shall
All
see you
right.
on Friday.
Excellent. Have a good week.
Have a great week, Greg. Bye.
Bye, everyone.